Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Juanita.
How are you?
I am fabulous. To say I've never been better would be stretching the truth a little bit.
A little
But
bit.
I'm not bad.
A little bit.
Any day that ends with me still breathing is an outstanding day.
There you go. That's positive spirit. Positive spirit. And is positive spirit part of what makes you the king of reinventing yourself?
I don't. Gosh, what a question! I don't know. I've always believed that positive attitude, think positive, do. So I have been one of those guys, which is possibly a little bit annoying, and certainly, so I don't think it's so much just think positive and do positive, and positive things will happen. I think it's more having a confidence in oneself that things will work out, that things that you will do what you have to do to see that things work out.
And you've tested that to the limits a number of times, right? Because I know part of your story, you left a career after having decided that it wasn't for you anymore. And you left that career without any new options, any new choices, anything existing to fall back on. Did you have confidence then that it will just all magically work out and birds will just start appearing and singing from the treetops and tie your ribbon in your hair?
Yeah, no. I mean, it was an interesting time. I mean, it was almost a ridiculously stereotypical midlife crisis thing. I was in my late 30s, and it wasn't so much a career as it was leading a way of life. Something that I'd been, myself and my wife and my son, we'd been involved with, and for a long time. And it was, we needed to go and do something different. And it was almost urgent that we go and do that. And the initial impulse was more about, it wasn't about going to anywhere. It was more about getting away from. And so the feeling of successfully navigating away early on was enough to kind of like, okay, great. We've moved away from this. We're going to go do something new and awesome. And so for the first few months, possibly the first year, it was sort of living with that sense of euphoria about it. Then it was confronting, okay, well, gosh, now what? Now there's a world out there. And no, and the sense of doubt, self-doubt and questioning, that is always there. Even when you're doing well, that sense of doubt is there, and like, okay, have I done enough? Can I do more? Am I actually succeeding? That's kind of part of the thing. But it's I mean, your state, the sun will be up tomorrow, you will be underneath that sun. Go. Go and do.
Yeah. That's how humanity has always survived. Even after massive crisis, after massive turmoil, the sun keeps on coming up every single morning. We have no choice but to say, if we don't know where we are going, it's up to us to create that to create that somewhere and start leading ourselves to it, even in periods of massive doubt.
I think, it's almost sort of just, it sometimes is literally a day at a time, and kind of like, okay, just keep taking a step forward. And then, so I think there's the umbrella of confidence. Like, I think I always knew something would work out, but on the day-to-day basis, that was tough and hard. Not always. Sorry, I've enjoyed my life for the most part. I mean, but there have been hard days, and there have been days when I've been incredibly grateful to have my wife there, who will sit with an empathetic ear and listen to me whine on. And then there are days where she said, you know what, it's just go and do something. Stop whining, get out there and do the thing. So certainly that helps, having people around that will support in that capacity in that way. But yeah, so to answer your question, sure, overall there was a confidence that it would work out. It wasn't always there. Some days it was better than others.
Doing the thing. How did you figure out what the thing was to do next? Because you've had quite a few things in life, and your latest thing in life is trying to be the oldest gamer streaming something. It's a world I don't understand. So but your latest thing is that, and it's a thing that
yes.
to my very focused business mind does not make sense at all. But for the fun Ryan, I know it makes sense. How do you determine what your thing is next, and what it looks like, and what the success for that thing is, and should success matter? I think there's about 4 questions.
Yeah, you know what? It's there is so much said about, you know, what success looks like, where you should go, and what a connected world has given us is pretty much a world of gurus and a world of people who say this is how things should go, and this is where you can go, and believe in yourself, and there's all that sort of thing, which I think is very helpful. But you know, for me, it's Juanita, I got completely lost in that question, so I'm going to pick it up from when you asked all of those questions, like what is
your thing? How do you figure out what that thing should be, and should a thing be successful? It's all about the thing, pretty much, and your gamer thing. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Cool. So people are often chasing, you know, their thing, like, you know, you find your purpose, you know, if you or do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, and drive towards something. And sometimes it's fairly uncomplicated, and sometimes it is more complicated. In my in my case, 10 years ago, all I knew is that I didn't want to get a job. So I looked around for things that weren't jobs. And then I discovered that people are paid to speak, and that blew my mind. So I was like, oh, I can speak. I've been doing a lot of that. I'll go and do that. And honestly, at that time, I had ignorance on my side. I didn't know how complicated it was. I didn't realize that it was as difficult as other jobs. You know, it wasn't
it's a
job.
Business. You run a business and you work the job. That's what speaking is.
Yes.
And if you suck at either, you just don't do it. Yeah.
And then I didn't realize all the elements around it. Like, you have to write stuff, and that, you know, when I do write, I'm not bad at it. I've actually written some stuff where I've read later and gone, damn, that was good. But it's not my, but it's not my thing. It's not like I get up and go, I can't wait to pound out 40,000 words. So I had to learn how to do that. And then probably the hardest thing was the amount of self-promotion and finding ways to tell other people how good you are. Is like, it's
the hardest thing about what you do. Oh, that's terrible. And I have so many conversations about this. It's like, no, we could just outsource that. But if we could outsource the confidence, if we could pay someone else to be confident on our behalf, we could pay someone else to figure out the thing and to design the thing on our behalf, we would have loved to. But that's not how it works.
Exactly. So there's all these things I didn't know about it, but I really wanted to do it because the little bit I did of it, I went, geez, I like this. This is a job I want to do.
And
so
you're
I kind
really
of stuck
good at
with
it. You are really, really good at it.
Well, Juanita, thank you very much. Where were you 10 years ago doing my PR?
Right, I know. Back to the thing and getting to your game.
Okay, so, okay, fine. So I honestly thought speaking would take a few months and I'd be a successful speaker. In truth, it was a 5-year journey. It was like kind of slog it, but I knew I wanted to do it enough that I was willing to solve the problems around it, that I was willing to go through the hardship that I had to go through in order to build a career as a speaker. All right, but then about 5 years ago, I was looking for entertainment options. What do I do when I'm not working, when I'm not traveling, when I want to kind of unwind? And I found I was getting, series and the available entertainment. I was like, So I thought, you know what, I want to try gaming. When I was much younger, I enjoyed playing games. My son was into gaming, so I thought, oh, let me try this. So I had my son source and buy as cheap as possible gaming PC for me. And then I tried a host of games, and I started. So in the evening, I'd spend an hour or two playing games, and then I came across a game called Rocket League, which its best and worst description is that it's car soccer. You're in a rocket-powered car, chasing a big ball, and you're there's two teams, and you have to score goals. It's as basic as that, and it sounds. I mean, that's what the game is, but it has a really high skill ceiling. I'm
sure it does.
Oh, Juanita. Okay. Okay,
Right.
okay, no worries. Anyway, and I fell in love with this game. So this game I played every day. I played it every day most days for 4 years, and I was spending quite a bit of time with it. So around this time last year, sort of April, May last year, I thought, you know what, I'm spending a lot of time with this game. I either need to do something a little bit more productive with the time I'm spending on the game, or how could I make the time I spent on the game productive time?
Mm-hmm.
And so mulling this over a few weeks, I had a look at, well, the game has a ranking system. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the better you get, the higher you rank up. The highest rank in the game is a grand champion. And so I said, I wonder how old the oldest grand champion in the world is, because all the grand champions are, you know, 15, 20, 25, sort of that age range. But how old is the oldest one? And I
You know,
I
I'm
found
laughing
someone who
at
was,
you a little bit right now, not just with you, right?
oh, I know that, and I'm enjoying that laughter because of what you don't know, and I know that one day you're going to go, I can't believe I laughed at that guy.
Good, you proved me wrong. You proved me wrong.
Exactly. Anyway, so long story short, I discovered that if I become a grand champion right then, I would be the oldest in the world. And I went, you know what, that's awesome. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to become the oldest grand champion in the world. But I'm not just going to do that. I'm going to make it a thing. So I got a semi-sponsorship. I went to see Predator Gaming, and they gave me an impressive array of equipment that I could use to, play the game, but then also document the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Started a YouTube channel, and that's what I do. Currently, I stream every day. That's the thing that blew my mind about this, is that I discovered that there are people who will watch other people play games.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Really? and so and I had no idea if people would watch me play, if it would be a thing. But what's been interesting is that, so I've been doing it now for about 10 months. Does that work out? There or thereabouts, 9-10 months. And there are an audience of people who are following me on this journey, who've become kind of invested in me going along trying to do this. And along the way, sort of, I've become very familiar with and involved in that gaming community. And that's what the thing is. And so currently, in terms of work time or business time, that's probably consuming most of my time and paying me the least money. But I've made it about a 2-year journey. I knew that for 2 years nothing would come of this, but in those 2 years, build something up. And what's great is it's something I really enjoyed doing. I've met incredible people, and then it's brought new opportunities. I occasionally cast, which is the gaming term for commentate. So I will commentate on tournaments, people who are playing this game. And I was commentating on a league in Europe and around. So there are opportunities there. I am meeting people in an entirely different industry than I would ever have had the opportunity to interact with and network with. And esports, online gaming, in terms of the money it generates, is bigger than the music and movie industries combined. It is huge. And now I'm in that industry, and the opportunities will abound. So that's what's currently exciting me, in addition to what I normally do anyway. And then success. Sorry, go ahead.
Here's what fascinates me about this whole journey. So the traditional way is identify an industry or a sector, identify your role in it, identify the problem you solve, identify the products and services you offer, put a price line to it, and price, place, promotion, etc., all of those marketing terms. And then you have a business plan, and then you get funding for it, and then you start the journey. And after 3 years, you're no longer a startup, and then you move in these phases, and it's all very formalized. And here Ryan comes and saying, I want a thing. I need a thing. And then when you start saying, I'm starting a thing, And just putting the self-doubt and self-confidence, not putting it away, not ignoring it, but saying, well, frankly, since you are there, since self-doubt, lack of confidence is there, but also this thing is there and I choose the thing, then things started happening to you. And the reason I like the word thing is maybe the new way of doing business is less about knowing what's going to happen and controlling what's going to happen. Start being more informal and calling things things and trying things. And then when you start seeing that suddenly, without a plan, without a focus, without intent, international opportunities in new roles and new markets start coming to you just because you did a thing. That's amazing. Success. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I don't think anybody alive today has faced as much uncertainty as we face right now.
No.
And that is, if I spent the last 18 months at every keynote I did, every time I spoke, my opening lines were, "We live in the healthiest, safest, and most prosperous time in human history." And now it's like, well, we don't know. All of those certainties have disappeared. Every futurist, every technology evangelist has gotten on stage and said, wow, this decade is going to be unbelievable. We're going to do all these incredible things. Everything we thought to be true. Listen, already before any global crisis, it was a different world. There were new opportunities. Now any doubt is removed.
Any familiarity is gone. There was
correct.
Advancements together with familiarity. So we had familiarity to run back to while we figure out the advancements. Now it's just, whatever you trusted, whatever you were certain about, whatever was familiar, do not count on it ever again. You're starting from scratch.
Yes. And I think there's going to be a period of living day by day. It's, it's kind of like, okay, let's just, you wake up, okay, I'm still breathing, everything's good. This is there. Okay. I think our sort of ground floor is changed. It's become a bit more foundational. But in that time, and it has been shown throughout humanities that there are always opportunities. But life is not going to be the same as it was before. Certain things will return to normal. Many will not. The world is different now. We have gained an experience that we just would never have had. And what's been hard for us is, we're a bit of a soft generation. Our grandparents suffered hardship, which is not to say that there are people in the world that haven't suffered hardship, but just globally as a generation, we haven't lived through a world war. We've been living through this period called the long peace. So we're a little bit soft, and I think we're a little bit like, but what we've discovered is that when things go down, when it gets hard, you adapt. We're actually a lot tougher than we believe we think we are. When you look at hardship from a distance, you go, I don't think I could. But when you're in it, you do what you got to do. You buck up, you toughen up, and you do what you have to. So that experience
the new way of measuring success, then bucking up and getting it done day after day after day after day, irrespective of how it's measured. Should we still say, well, there should be predetermined levels of success, or is success going to be replaced by another S word like survival or sanity and I've just run out of S words? We've always driven for success.
And you know what? I think in a way that's probably part of the problem that's gotten the world to where it was. Well, on the one hand, it is, the striving of the human condition's desire is to understand, what's over that hill. And when you look and you go, oh, okay, it's a field, but what's over that next hill? And then you come to the ocean, you go, oh, what's on the other side of that? And then when we've done the whole world, we went, wow, there's stars, let's go. And that is remarkable. And I love that's what makes humans great, is that our thirst to understand and to know more and to figure out the things we don't know. But on the other hand, that ambition has also gotten us into trouble, and we've done silly things along the way. Somehow we've managed to not completely wipe ourselves out, but on the balance of things, we've done more good than we have not. But this obsession with success and what it looks like, I think is one of the things that gets us on an individual level into trouble. And if I've learned anything in the last 10 years is that people are different. You know, there are people who wanted to be doctors, and it takes a certain mindset, a certain personal kind of feeling to go, I want to go and do that. And I'm willing to confront like a lot of gross stuff because that's my drive.
Yeah.
And there are other people who want other things, and there are people who obsessively want to count money and but so success does look different to different people. And I think to define your life by did you succeed can be dangerous, because in my effort to try and do things well, like to become a professional speaker, to be the oldest gamer in the world, along the way, what I thought was important about it evolved and changed. What I thought I would consider myself successful about evolved and changed. So it's almost just go after the thing. Does it fulfill you every day? Does it fill you with excitement when you get up in the morning? And along the way, is it paying the bills? Because, you know, there's no fun in going, wow, I love my life, it's fantastic, and then having no money, nowhere to live.
Table, yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. Because that's kind of stupid. So along the way, there's that. So it's, and I do think success needs to be tempered by something a little more broader. And I think so many people say, hopefully out of this crisis comes, we'll think about what we've done, and there'll be a new hope, a new sense of humanity. And I think there will be for a bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm always saying. What will prevent us from not retaining this sense of humanity that has now grown, the sense of global connectedness, humans first, etc. What do you think will make us go back to it? Because when a crisis is over, I mean, think about every time in your life, whenever there was a massive period of change or a massive crisis, it's those first few weeks and those first few months where either you live in the euphoria of new opportunity or the absolute depression of seemingly no opportunity. And then that becomes your, as you say in one of your keynotes, the new normal. So what do we need to keep in mind, do you think, to not make our new normal the same as the old normal?
Look, I think for a start, going back to the old normal is no longer possible.
No.
That world just doesn't exist anymore. We are in a new place. But because we find comfort in familiarity, there's going to be I think for a period, there's going to be trying to go back to how things were,
I agree.
Why can't things? So, and that's going to be hard, because you just can't go back to it. It does not exist anymore. So as quickly as possible, it's, well, what is my new normal now? What is it that I want to do? Because, we're faced with, if I take speaking as a career, I don't know what that looks like anymore. I don't know if people are going, why are we spending so much time, effort, and money putting on conferences when we realize that maybe Zoom is an option? Who knows? I don't know. All I know is that people will still want to congregate with each other. We are gregarious. Communication from leadership to our teams, to our people, is going to remain important. So
and be
I know
even
one
more
thing
important
is that,
than ever.
Correct. So whether I'm going to jump on a plane to Italy one day to speak on a stage, and then in the UK, and then back to Joburg, I'm not sure that world exists anymore. If it is to exist, it's probably a couple of years away as the world tries to figure itself out. Or if anyone's brave enough to start a new airline after that, who knows what goes on. But the world is going to be different. But know this, whoever you are and wherever you are, there is a place for you in this world. You just got to figure it out. And,
you've got to figure it out.
Yes.
That's my thinking as well. In the unfamiliar, if you're in a new environment, it's easy to wait for people to say, this is where we're going, follow me. But everybody is not necessarily that type of leader. So we should be doing the self-leadership thing and saying, well, since there's nothing, since there's no playbook, since there's no preconceived way of doing things, I need to become a creator. Whether you've seen yourself as creative or not,
Yes.
you have a choice, and you should make the choice in what your new normal. The new normal is not going to reveal itself to you if you sit on a rock long enough. You've got to choose. You've got to be proactive, and you've got to focus on basic things.
Correct. And again, it comes down to, and it's important that every person, they've got to move in a direction that works for them. And what I mean by that is, look, I think for a while we may have to do things from necessity rather than out of passion, purpose, love, and all of that sort of thing. I don't know where this all goes. I mean, I might have to confront the very real horror of getting a job, and going and now having to work a schedule when for 10 years I've been kind of living life on my own terms. But that might be necessary for me to deal with what I got to deal with. But so there is the idea of finding your thing and chasing that in whatever way you want. But then there's also, if you're not able to do that, what are you doing? Whatever you're doing right now, you've got to find some sort of way to be at peace with that too. So it is this juggle. I mean, we have just come out of a world where we were actually, I don't think we appreciated how much luxury we had in terms of, there was enough safety and comfort that we could sit there and go, what do I want to do with my life? Where's, and I want to do something that fulfills me and that's got purpose and that's good for the world. That was a luxury your parents didn't have. It's a luxury definitely your grandparents would. They did what they had to. So maybe we don't have that for a while, but maybe that's okay too. And if you find yourself having to work a job, well, how do we make that okay? How do you build and create beyond that? And there are always ways to do it, as long as, I think, to sum it all up with all the waffle, what I've figured out for myself is it's nice to have somewhere to go. Okay, I want to be the world's oldest Rocket League grand champion. I want to be a global speaker. And it's not so much about becoming that or attaining those goals. It's the idea that you've got a reason to get up in the morning. And you know what? That is enough. And I'll share probably the greatest moment for me in the last 10 years in this journey happened to me about 18 months ago. And that was quite simply, I lost my ambition. And on the face of it, it sounds like an awful thing. But I was so doggedly chasing this thing of like, okay, I want to be a global speaker. I want to be, and it was hurting me that I wasn't, in my estimation, achieving that. And that I was struggling with that. And there were other people who seemed to be doing much better at it than me. And, so you're comparing yourself to others and it's like, oh, am I succeeding? And then one moment I had a look at this and I really reviewed it and I went, you know what? When I looked at the life that I thought I was chasing, I went, I actually don't want that. I want different things. I actually just I want to have a great impact on the people I work with. And I don't need to be on an international platform to do that. I can have 50 customers, 100 clients that I work with on a semi-regular basis. And then there was the gaming thing that came into being. And I went, you know what? That is okay. That is actually okay to have, instead of trying to chase a global impact, go have a local impact. When I'm up and I'm speaking to 150 people. That's awesome. That's fantastic. 200 people, whatever it is. So I say losing my ambition, which on the one hand it sounds like, but maybe it's refocusing that ambition and reevaluating what was important to me, and in terms of my life, my family, my what I like doing, what gets me up in the morning. And listen, up until very recently, life was incredibly cushy. How that life looks now, I don't know. But I know there is a place for me in this world, in this future, and I'm relatively confident I'll find it and make a living from doing it.
On that epiphany, Thank you. I am absolutely confident that the Ryan I know will find another thing and do things, and we'll have chats again like this in a few months or a few years' time.
So,
I'll be excited to see where you've journeyed to very happily and healthily with your family, and all of your ambitions and your hopes and your dreams intact. Without any further more waffle, thanks, Ryan.
Juanita, thank you so much, and peace.
Cheers.
Bye.